following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lord. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is another offseason edition of Talkin Cowboys, presented by Geico, live and in person, streaming coast to coast and around the world, here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco. And it is another triumph of another week of Dallas Cowboys offseason talk, the NFL draft in the rearview mirror, the rookie minicamps right on the horizon, as we've got plenty to talk about. And we've talked a lot about defense over the last couple of episodes, deservedly so, because the Cowboys spent 8 draft picks on defensive players. But guess what? We're going to talk some offense today. We're going to change it up a little bit and talk about the offense. Glad you're with us. Kyle Yeomans, Rob Phillips. We've got Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, as always. The world-famous Heckma Harrison.
Oh,
you see that shirt? The shirt is amazing.
Oh, y'all like this?
Yeah, it's nice.
What's that material? What is that?
What is it, velvet?
It's green is what it is.
Wow, that's
alpaca. No, I got it from the pro shop, man. You have to check it out.
Dude.
They knew who I was in the pro shop.
I was going to say, you get it free?
Wow. I'm huge in the pro shop, bro.
I've never seen that one
It's
before.
like him and Bucky's.
I haven't either.
I think it's custom.
This is a custom.
It's kind of
bro.
velvety.
There's no way.
Right off the
Velvety,
rack.
painted on, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't do the painted on. You do the painted on.
You know what Isaiah does do, though, that none of us else could do? He ran the 100 meters before.
He did?
Yeah.
How'd you fare? What was your time?
I placed 5th in Pac-10s. We'll just say that. Not good enough, but I ran a 10-4. 10-4, 3.
Fifth in Pac-10s.
So let me ask you this.
That's-
What is it with wide receivers and this confidence that makes y'all believe that you could just walk out on the track and...
Well, to be fair, I was a quarterback at the time, Heckma.
my bad.
Starting quarterback for the
I was,
dub.
not to say I was the fastest quarterback in the nation, but just to
Anyway, yeah.
just to double back. No, I mean I admire and I recognize, I acknowledge what DK did. I respect it. He's faster than I was at that time. I can tell you that. By about a step or so. So that's a large human being running against a lot of fast human beings. And like he said, most guys wouldn't do that. Most guys would not put themselves in a position to lose. You know you're going to lose, but you're putting yourself in an environment where other people are better than you. So all you can do is get better.
So what we're talking about, by the way, just for those of you who haven't necessarily seen this on social media, it's blown up on Twitter and it's blown up around social media, but Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf decided to run the 100 meters in attempt to qualify for the qualifiers of the Olympics, basically, right? He wanted to try and make the Olympic trials, and that's what this race was. He ended up running a 10.36?
10.36.
And which is pretty good. He finished 9th in the heat.
That's rolling.
It's really good. And
Yeah.
by the way, he was racing, like you said, against guys that he outweighed by 40 pounds almost.
And that's what they do.
That's where I was going. Yes, because Nick and I were talking about this upstairs. There's got to be some technique stuff involved
Of course there
he
is.
is not
Tons of it.
doing on a daily basis, right?
He had the same struggles I had. When you're that size, I think when I was running, I was 225, so he had 10 pounds on me.
Yeah.
And he ran faster. When you're that size, and most of the guys you're running against, number one, are like 5'8", 5'9", right? And these guys are light. They've been trained since birth to run fast in a straight line, right? He's trained to move grown men out the way.
Yeah.
He's trained to cut, right? He's trained to do all these things. So he has to work very, very hard, right, on getting out on his drive phase, on his first 30 meters, on all the different phases of the race. These guys don't have to really, they're thinking about it, but it's natural for them. It's not
muscle
natural.
memory.
Yeah, it's muscle memory. So respect to him, man, for putting himself on that platform.
Putting that in perspective, we had the state tournament track meet in Austin. There was a kid ran a 9.9.
That's disrespectful.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, a high schooler. So,
That's
we doing
It gets
big
crazy.
in Texas.
We wanted to just kind of give props to DK because he caught a lot of slack on Twitter.
For what?
Exactly.
Because
That's
he
my
finished
thing.
9th?
He's faster than
Yeah, he finished 9th. That's probably why. It's because he lost.
Other
but-
normal human being that gets out their car and goes in a grocery store.
Yeah, no way.
If a pit bull got loose, he's getting loose. He's getting away. You're not.
Yep.
That's the facts.
Completely agree.
That's the fact.
That's putting it in perspective for
Put it in
real.
perspective. Yes, everybody want to. If a pit bull got loose and you're going to the doggone grocery store, right? You're going to the grocery store and going to Kroger's. He is getting away. Everybody else?
Not me.
Not happening.
Nope.
I told y'all, line Mickey Spagnola up against me, and I'm confident. Everybody else, I don't have any confidence in a race. So,
Kyle, what about your time? What do you think you do in the 100?
Oh, God, I don't even want to know.
Come on. This
Like a 15, 16?
You do better than that.
do better than that.
Yeah,
If you're real,
I don't really know. Yeah, they would have to.
Can you beat CB? Can you beat Chris B?
Yeah, I could beat Chris Beam in a race. Yeah, I could do that.
Chris Bean was
I've got
smoky.
longer legs
In my
and I'm
prime,
more
no
athletic.
chance.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
in
agree
your
with
prime, you want to set this up or no?
That's a no.
Yeah,
Based off the silence.
I would see it.
Didn't we already have this conversation on Twitter? Wasn't Jesse involved with this?
Yeah, Jesse was
Talking
talking
about
about it.
Yeah. We talked about a combine, like between the shows. We also talked about you guys racing.
Yeah.
God, I'd love to
We
see
need to
that.
do that.
Let's do it. I'd be down. Let's do it. Let's do it up on the Tostitos Championship Plaza and run a race.
Do you need a head start?
Let's do one clean, and then I'll try and do a head start.
All right,
We'll do
that
that. How
works.
about that?
Smoke me first, and then I'll see.
Go ahead and just destroy me, and then
Tostito me on a Tostitos.
Oh goodness, yeah, that would I'd be crispy from the. So going from more of a sprint to what has been a marathon for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's trying to find a backup quarterback. And at least over the last couple of years, it hasn't necessarily been a place of confidence for this franchise outside of Andy Dalton. I mean, I guess pretty much Andy Dalton was the best backup quarterback this Cowboys team has seen in a long time. He, of course, is now in Chicago, going to battle it out with Justin Fields. Poor Andy Dalton going up there, and then they go and draft Justin Fields. But my question to you guys, and this was actually a mailbag question that we'll hit the other mailbag question in our second segment. And Rob, you got a chance to answer this, so I'll start with you. Are the Cowboys confident at backup quarterback because they didn't take one in the draft? Last year, it took until after the draft to go and find a guy like Andy Dalton. So it was right around this time. That's when you start hearing rumors like we did last week with Jeff Driscoll maybe potentially coming in, or he at least came and visited, but there was no deal made. Right. Are the Cowboys actively shopping to try and find a veteran backup quarterback at this point?
Yeah, I would say they are. I mean, I don't. They haven't found an answer there yet, and I don't know if they will. It's not the same. You know, there's not an Andy Dalton just sitting out there who's got 133 starts and made 3 Pro Bowls, but I think they're constantly looking for it. Mike McCarthy said it a couple weeks ago. Competition, we always are looking for that competition there behind Dak Prescott. And, you know, when you look at the number of starts that Garrett Gilbert has, that Ben DiNucci has 1 start in his career, and it wasn't great timing for him last year as a rookie. And then Cooper Rush has been, you know, very minimal playing time behind Dak, and then, you know, behind Andy Dalton last year. They just don't have a lot of experience. So Driscoll did come in Friday. He's got 9 career starts. No deal was there. It sounded like maybe he's got some options. You know, maybe it's good to get cut after the draft if you're a quarterback, because teams are always looking for more quarterbacks. If that deal doesn't materialize, I think there's still a chance there's another vet brought in. But I don't know who exactly that would be, and it's not a wide field there. But he would be an upgrade in terms of experience, at least.
Isaiah, what would you look for in a backup quarterback here? Because, I mean, from somebody who's played the position before, you can always look out there and see the numbers. And the numbers for a lot of these guys aren't fantastic. Jeff Driscoll, Robert Griffin III, Matt Barkley, Josh McCown. I guess Jameis Winston technically is still available, but he'll go back to New Orleans or whatever that ends up being. I mean, there's not great numbers along the way. But why would a backup quarterback in this scenario, where you do have a Cooper Rush, where you do have a Ben DiNucci, and you have these guys, why would there be a beneficial part of getting a backup quarterback?
So you need a veteran. You prefer to have a veteran backup quarterback. The reason being because of the position that your team is in. Your team, personnel-wise, is in a position that you feel like you're going to be probably in the run for playoffs, right? Looking at our roster, you would think that we would have a playoff run.
Sure.
So being that that's the case, right, you have to look at it in a situational aspect. If we were to lose our starting quarterback, say the week before the playoffs, what type of quarterback do we want coming in here? Do we want a guy that's just a young talent that, you know, who has potential, or do we want somebody who's proven, who knows how to handle situations, who has experience, and that doesn't need to do anything extra, but just simply needs to guide our team to the finish line? So that's when I think about backups, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at somebody, hey, week 1 get hurt, can he carry us through the whole season? I'm looking at, hey, worst case scenario, right? Somebody gets hurt right at the key point of the season. What can this person do for us, and what kind of experience do they bring?
1990 playoffs, Giants lose Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler just comes in. Need to win a couple games, he gets it done.
That's it, and that's what you're looking for, right? So as I'm looking at this list, these free agents, I'm not happy. I think I made it known some time back, a couple months back, that I was looking for Blaine Gabbert, and he went to Tampa.
Yeah,
so
he's gone.
I think that was probably the best guy that we could have gotten, but Tampa wasn't going to let that go.
What a cush job for Blaine Gabbert.
Chilling.
Sitting behind TB12. Chilling. But, I mean, if you just think about last season and you approach it from a crime scene, investigative, put the blue light on the quarterback's room, and there were splatters up against the wall. It just did not go well for the backup quarterback. Come on, guys, let's keep it real. It's Talkin Cowboys. Yeah. All right? So it was, we didn't fare well in that. It's when Dak went down, and it's not like we were on a roll before Dak got hurt, but at least we started to see the game start to slow down a little bit in the COVID season that we were having. But you make a point. You don't want to find out what you have at the end of the season, and you're trying to make a run, and then guy comes off the bench and he's not what you thought he was. And so, I mean, for a period of time, especially after the Washington football team game when Andy Dalton went down, we were just at limbo at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. And you think about how many injuries we had on the offensive line, and all of that is just relative to the fact that there wasn't going to be any success either way, right? And so you got to kind of shore up that position, and whether we stay with Gilbert, which he has experience and starts as one or two.
He's got a couple.
Yeah, a
not
couple,
a lot, yeah.
But not a lot. But, I mean, if you think about the position, the backup quarterback position in the NFL, I mean, if any of these guys were in any position to compete for one of those 32 jobs, they would be on that roster to do it.
But, yeah. And it's not the same cap as it was last year, where they slotted however many million it was for Andy Dalton last year. And to your point, if Dak goes down for a significant period of time, you're probably screwed.
Yeah,
I mean, you're probably not going to. You have to, like Jerry said, when he went down, they said they had to adjust their expectations. But Heck made the point, like, Isaiah's idea of Andy Dalton could have been that guy if everything else was perfect around him. The biggest thing was losing both your starting tackles.
Yeah.
That changes how you play football.
Yep.
I mean, that changes, you don't have the things you can lean on in terms of protection and balance that way.
And I hate to use this team as a reference, sorry, Kyle, but, the fairy tale story that the Boo Eagles had with Nick Foles, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Wentz goes down, here he comes off the bench, and he only has a few situations where he has to win, and he goes in and he does it. It's not like he played out of his mind. He just didn't turn the ball over, and that's what you need from your backup.
Yep.
So that kind of brings me to the question of Andy Dalton last year, and we had talked about this previously, how the tackles were the biggest loss, and then Andy Dalton was kind of the one that had to deal with that heat, kind of had to bear that on his his back, because he came in and of course that Washington game on the road is the one that sticks in my mind the most, where he just got destroyed at the end of that game, unfortunately. But looking at a backup quarterback situation now, the one guy I look at is maybe Blake Bortles. Or maybe you could go get a Blake Bortles if you're wanting starting experience.
He's got the most starts out there, right?
By far.
I thought Jameis was back with New Orleans.
He is. He's on this list, but when I was going down the list and I read him, and I was like, I don't think that's true. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's back. But Blake Bortles, Brian Hoyer, maybe. I don't really want anybody outside of those two. I think I would rather ride with a Garrett Gilbert or a Cooper Rush at that point, or even Ben DiNucci. He's not a rookie anymore. He's had at least one look at a professional defense. So that brings me to my question: is this Cowboys team outside of the quarterback position? Where do they need to find? Or what else do they need to find this offseason? What are those extra needs? Because you filled a couple of them, some offensive line depth in the draft. You got an extra wide receiver. Where do you see the needs lying on the offensive side of the football moving into the latter parts of this offseason?
And I think you feel good. I think you feel good about Ezekiel Elliott coming back into the season. You last year, let's throw 2020 away for Zeke, because he led the league in fumbles, everything bad, everything you don't need. And even in a situation like where you lose your starting quarterback, you expect for the running game with the star athlete like Zeke to at least carry you through some games. And obviously your quarterback's going to have to make some throws. But I just feel like Zeke is going to be the key to this season, getting us back in the win column and just getting that feel good around here, because he has to have a bounce back season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will. I mean, I think we addressed it obviously a ton last year. There's no running back aside from the dude by the name of Barry Sanders that would have been successful without their starting offensive line. It's just not happening, right? So I've personally been in that position where some of your guys go down, and now you're in a position where you have to create, right? And now all of a sudden you're trying to create. Now things that were important, like securing the ball, aren't as important because you're trying to make something happen.
Right.
And that's what he ran into last year. Zeke is still Zeke. Zeke's still Zeke. I know he's working. I've been seeing some of the things he's been doing.
Looking good, isn't he?
He does look good. He looks real good.
He's focused and he's a competitor, right? And we know one thing about competitors, they're always going to bounce back. So I look forward to him having a great year. But everything on this offense, everything on everybody's offense depends on your offensive line.
I 100% agree. Kyle, about the backup thing, I'm fine with them signing anybody that's somewhat of a veteran like a Driscoll or somebody else and just compete. Maybe Garrett Gilbert plays better in training camp and preseason, but just get that competition to see who's better. As far as needs, Isaiah led me right to it, man. They got to figure out their swing tackle situation. And I know they signed Ty Nsekhe, who's been maybe a little underrated in his career as a guy that's stepped in and done a good job when he's needed to. Faced the Cowboys with Washington and did a nice job there. He's been in Buffalo. They draft Josh Ball. But they got to figure that out because, Tyron, hopefully he's back to where he needs to be. But even before this neck deal, he was going to miss 3 games,
Where's your confidence level?
They say they're confident. If they say they're confident, and the fact that they restructured his deal, that makes me feel confident too, that they're willing to push more money down the road that he's going to be okay. Do I think he's going to play 16 starts? He hasn't done that in I don't know how many years. So you have to be ready for that. They're trying to be ready for that. But, maybe the answer is Zach Martin, and they don't play around with that anymore and say, 2 positions. No, wherever there's an injury at tackle, Zach Martin's your tackle, left or right, and Connor McGovern's your starting guard. And just fix it that way. And don't mess around with young guys trying to come in and play tackle that aren't ready or aren't good enough to be productive consistently.
So Steele was thrown to the Wolves last year. I mean, the same that you look at the backup quarterback situation, you don't feel that way about Steele in the swing tackle position?
Or Brandon Knight.
And
they fought, but they're young guys against some really good rushers in this division, and they didn't have a lot of consistent success. So they did add Nsekhe, and I feel better that way. But do I feel great about it?
You should.
No. And it's kind of like quarterback. It's like if your cornerstone left tackle goes down, there aren't many of those guys out there. No. So I don't know if you feel great whenever you lose your guy like that.
Ty Nsekhe, by the way, has not had a start since week 5 of 2019, I believe, is when his last start was. Yep. And he's had 1 start over the last 2 years, 17 over his career, and he's played in 81 games. So
he's played a lot, and his PFF numbers are pretty good.
Pretty decent. Yeah, not bad. But if you're looking for a guy to come in and be your swing tackle, I don't know if 17 starts out of 81 career games since 2012 is anything that gets me excited.
But it's a luxury. I mean, how many teams have a great backup tackle? That's why Zach comes to my mind. It's like, Zach can play anywhere. We'll put him anywhere.
Who do you feel better about, Cam Irvin last year or Ty Nsekhe this year? Which is tough to say, hindsight 2020, seeing Cam Irvin not play the majority of the year as well.
Missed 10 games.
Yeah.
I would say Nsekhe then, just based off, hopefully, availability.
Isaiah?
I don't know. I don't have a.
It's hard to say.
I can't.
You haven't watched a ton of Ty Nsekhe tape?
Have not.
Goodness, come on. What kind of professional are you?
No, the confidence isn't there, and I think Rob just kind of echoes that you have to, these Tyron Smiths don't grow on trees. You don't see these quite often, and we just need 17 games this season, but it's been 6 years since he's started an entire season. And even looking at Zach Martin in that role to move him away from guard just gives me the, bubble guts too, because he got hurt at right tackle. So, look, the thing is that we didn't do a lot in the draft. In those earlier rounds to get what we considered those, top tier guys. So we're going to be relying heavily on the Balls and Steels and Knight and all those guys to kind of make way to be that. But, McGovern, we've had so many guys that we've drafted along the way that we have to rely on to at least turn, the learning curve, be there and see what they have. I think preseason is going to be very important to get a gauge on what the offensive line is going to look like. Because right now, based off of last year, we're not confident in what we saw.
They needed it last year, too. They definitely needed it last year, that preseason.
And maybe Josh Ball turns out to be Doug Free, a guy that gets drafted in the middle rounds and Isaiah's teammate, and it turns out to be a veteran for 10 years. Who knows? But right now, it's like backup quarterback. I don't know if you ever feel great about it,
Well, if you had to choose between getting a veteran right now for a quarterback position or offensive line position, which one are you going with?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a great question.
I think I would probably look at offensive line. I would. Okay. Because, not adding one in the draft was a byproduct of how bad your defense was and missed first-round, second-round picks previously. Yeah. If Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch played up to their potential of a first-round pick and a second-round pick, you're not going to pick Micah Parsons there at 10, or I guess at 12. But you're not going to pick him there. You're going to pick Rashawn Slater, and you're going to ride because you have a little bit of a luxury room. Sure. You didn't have that luxury. You needed to go with the defensive player at that point, or at least that's what they thought. And they went and they took a Micah Parsons there, because they missed on some of those picks previously. So I think I would still add a veteran offensive lineman.
What position, though?
A tackle, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, tackle. I feel decent about the guard spot with Martin, Williams hopefully being healthy throughout. I feel decent there. That's an average position.
Not Heck's favorite.
No. Oh, he's not my favorite either. I tried to replace him with Rashawn Slater for like 6 months. But I would feel better there in terms of availability at the guard spot rather than tackles. And that's why I think tackle would probably be my priority there.
Okay.
Well, if you're telling me I could find another Andy Dalton to just have him ready just in case, give me that. Because, I'm confident Dak's going to be good.
Okay.
I'm not worried about that. But in the event something happens, your season is just in major jeopardy, in terms of playoffs without your starter.
And I think just Dak's his durability over the years kind of lulled us to sleep. And when we saw him go down, and we realized he wouldn't come back, I think we took the glass off the button and smashed it. And we thought, the guy that was, especially Isaiah's coming off, that, hey, this may be the start of something. But it's just to your question, I really believe backup quarterback. I want to be assured of that. And even thinking about the Super Bowl, Kansas City, they didn't have a chance in that game because of all of the injuries that they had at offensive line. Yeah. So, it's a lot of give and take, and you can't have one without the other. But I think if we had a little bit of a mobile quarterback last year, maybe we would have fared just a tad bit better. Because, look, man, Dalton was running for his life.
Yeah, he was.
That's why people liked Gilbert in that one start, because
he moved a little bit.
He moved a little bit, and had a little moxie to him a little bit.
More so than Ben DiNucci. And Ben DiNucci can move too.
Yeah.
He's got some athleticism too, but he just wasn't ready for NFL speed. He wasn't ready for that pro speed.
Poor Nooch. He just wasn't.
Y'all gave him nicknames, Nucci Man.
Nucci Man.
Y'all tried to pump him up.
Let's just go make high school Kyle happy and go sign RG3 because I grew up in Waco, so sick and bears.
I forgot RG was out there.
That's my dude. Yeah.
No.
Nah.
I'm going with a starting.
I'm just
veteran guard.
You want a guard?
I want a starting veteran guard.
Why? Over a tackle or a backup quarterback?
I'm going with a starting veteran guard, and then I'm letting Cardinal Williams get back to what he's used to.
Oh, you're not even worried about a backup. You want a starter.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get that with the kind of money that they have, though? That's my question.
I don't know. Somebody has to be a discount double check.
Ultra discount double check.
As the closer you get to the season, though, the guys will get anxious.
80% off sticker on the flat screen TV. That's what Isaiah's trying to look for.
It's easier to find a veteran guard than it is to find a tackle like we're talking about. It's a lot easier to find somebody on the inside.
Right,
it's true.
That.
Yeah.
A lot easier to find somebody on the inside. So that's all I'm saying.
You just got to find a.
You might have your swing tackle. Backup swing tackle
on the team. There it is.
Okay, so we've talked about offensive line. We've talked about running back. We talked about quarterback. No worries at wide receiver. We're pretty good there. Good. What about tight end? We're going to talk about that when we come back on the other side of the break. Is tight end a sneaky need for this Dallas Cowboys team based off of what we've heard previously? When we return on Talkin Cowboys presented by Geico.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Here on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Geico, as we are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios. And whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor on Talkin Cowboys. We didn't get to your single cam. You're going to have to turn around and do it.
Where's the Miami Vice?
There he is. Now he's on it. Now you got it.
What's going on, C?
Here, I got you. See more, do more, Essilor
There
on
it
Talkin
is.
Cowboys.
You got to hit the deal.
Where's the uncle at the barbecue?
It's a little shady outside.
It is overcast.
It's a little
today.
overcast outside. It felt like Seattle out there. So
It did.
Well, I don't ever take mine off. Heckman doesn't ever take his off. I'll tell you that much.
That's because I got this. Well, I don't remember my vision. It's something amazing though.
It's like 25. It's
25?
fine. Yeah, whatever it was. It was dumb. It just made us all feel terrible about
He said
ourselves.
he's never seen a human with that kind of vision before.
I don't even want to hear this. This is ridiculous.
You take things from here to here. Is that even?
Is this RoboCop? Is that Robo Isaiah?
RoboCop.
Goodness. Going into Mailbag Monday here, of course, on Talkin Cowboys. We do it every Monday throughout the offseason when we have a good question to answer. And this one comes from Greg from the great tropical city of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Great city, by the way. Seems like almost every draft site had tight end as a big area of need. I personally think we're in pretty good shape there. Obviously, Dallas would have liked to look at Kyle Pitts had he slipped a little bit, but that didn't happen, of course. But area of need, and you put that in quotation marks, I think this team is much more important's area of need. Am I missing something? And I don't necessarily disagree. I saw the same thing on a lot of the draft sites, and I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit. But you look at it, Blake Jarwin, he's not a guarantee. He had the half of a game before he got hurt last year and out for the season. What is he going to be like in his return? That's a huge question mark to me. You can rely on Dalton Schultz to a certain extent, but we also had very low expectations for the tight end position last year. He exceeded those expectations, but once again, it was a pretty low bar from the get-go. So my question is to you guys, is tight end a little bit more of a need than we're thinking? Are we missing something here? What do you think about that position overall?
I thought we were done with Kyle Pitts talk. I thought we were done
You
with it.
almost made it out of the Kyle Pitts conversation.
Thank you, Greg.
Saying there's a chance. It never ends. It never ends. Turning into Earl Thomas is what it is.
E.T.
Yeah.
You can blame David Hellman.
Don't even get him started.
I do blame Dave Hellman for this. And I think the national media got enamored with the idea of a splashy draft pick, Kyle Pitts coming in, just making this offense even crazier in terms of talent than it was. And I saw, Todd McShay, top need for the Cowboys on ESPN, and he had tight end. I'm like,
why?
Okay, dude. Like, I respect his work, but like anybody that covers this team or watches this team on a close basis knows you can get by with what you got at tight end. Even if Blake Jarwin, everything we've heard is he's good with his rehab.
Yep.
Even worst case, that doesn't work out. You got a guy that proved he could be a starter in the NFL. And if worst case goes beyond that, they signed another veteran.
Sprinkle.
Yes,
Jeremy Sprinkle.
Who can do it. He could step in if need be. Noah Brown, heck. I would put Noah Brown at tight end if it really came down to it.
Oh, man.
I saw some plays from him at the wide receiver position. I think you could line him up and do that too.
Mickey Spagnola he's bubbling upstairs.
Can we get some Essilors on him?
Yeah, right.
You don't agree?
No, definitely not agree.
I'm just saying if it came all the way down to it, they're okay. They can get by.
Yes. We can definitely get back. I feel good about our tight ends, especially how we utilize our tight ends. That's what people need to understand. When you start looking at personnel on rosters, you have to understand it's not just about the talent. It's not just about what they're capable of. Like, think about Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a receiving tight end. He's not blocking anybody in the NFL. I'm just no disrespect to him. I don't see him putting his hand on the ground and blocking for Matt Ryan. It's just not going to happen. So adding him on this roster does nothing because you just paid Jarwin. We have a Pitts, right? We have a guy who can take the top off. We have Jarwin, and Jarwin's going to fulfill his role. Unfortunately, he got hurt last year. But what we're going to ask him to do, he does well, right? Which is run. Right. Run straight, right? Run straight, put pressure on the safeties, and then guess what? We got 3 dogs at wide receiver that can get open. That's what you're asking the tight end to do in this system. Schultz did a heck of a job last year, obviously coming in and filling in for Jarwin, but you think about the potential of having both of those guys being able to come in and run a 2-tight set, be able to run a wing set, have those guys doing all kinds of underneath routes and things of that nature. They're going to fulfill what we're asking them to do. They don't need to be Zach Ertz or any of these other guys out there because that's not their role here. Then we bring in then we got Sprinkle. We got Sprinkle coming in. Right?
Salt Bay.
We got Sprinkle. Salt Bay has his restaurant here, so Sprinkle's here now. Yeah. And he's going to come in and put some hands on somebody. So it's about no different than the Parsons pick. What are we asking them to do at their position? Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to put them in position to do well.
I think that, in the NFL, everyone is admiring, these new offenses, and the Kelsey Kittle argument comes in because you see Kelsey top 5 in receiving from the tight end position, their ability to maximize the middle of the field because they're stretching everybody out on the outside. And so you admire that and you say, I want one of those. And we don't. And that's what you would say would be the need. But we have so many receivers that can do so many multiple things in this offense. And the one thing that I always worry about is how do we utilize our tight ends right now? Yeah. And so even if we had a Pitts, what would we do with that in this offense with the other weapons that we have?
What numbers could he post as a rookie that would make him
significant? No,
he'd be another receiver.
I think if you drafted Kyle Pitts, you would probably deal one of the receivers. In my opinion, I think that's probably what would be the next move.
Kind of like Atlanta's got him, and Julio Jones might be on the move at some point,
maybe
kind of thing.
But when it comes down to the injuries last year, right? Dalton Schultz, to me, he showed up. Absolutely, and we were not looking for him, and there were so many question marks over him. We didn't even know if he was going to make it to the training camp. Yeah. Once the Belldozer came in, and there were the questions, and he showed up for us. He did a lot of good things in blocking, run blocking. He showed, and that was supposedly, quote unquote, one of his weaknesses.
He was giving effort. He doesn't have enough weight in his draws to hold his own in there, but he was giving 100% effort.
Good offense, good off season. Maybe he can sack up.
Yeah, he's still 245 pounds. He's not tiny.
That's little.
I know
at that position.
I know.
Yeah,
but Cam Jordan said about Kyle Pitts is he's a little light in the
little light.
Yeah, no, it's true,
man.
Tight
end, and that is maybe the one gripe is that they don't have a guy that can do it all at that position. Like you said, Blake's, he's a stretch the field guy. Dalton did improve, I think, in that regard. Sprinkle can help in that regard. Blake Bell was kind of their guy.
Yeah. But in this system, you don't have to be a jack of all trades in this system at that position. You really don't, right? You need a guy to come in and have his hand in the ground and be able to run. And you know what I'm saying? We put Sprinkle in the game. Guess what? I don't care if they think that we're going to run the ball when Sprinkle's in the game. It doesn't matter. We're either going to run the ball behind him, right, or we're either going to have him sit in there in the hip pocket of Collins and block, right? And then guess what? Oh, yeah, we got those 3 dudes out there that can run the routes all day long. So you're not asking one guy to be your savior because you have so much already.
Yeah, Sprinkle's going to come in and he's going to be your blocking tight end.
Yeah.
You've got Schultz who could do a little bit of both.
And
Jarwin's going to be the one that'll attack the hash marks and seams up the middle. Absolutely. So there's potential there with that, with the position overall. And I think whenever it comes to the tight end position, both of you guys made this point, and I think it's the best way to think about it. With the weapons you have on offense, you don't need the tight ends to be exceptional. You don't need them to be next level. You need your tight ends. You need Schultz. You need Jarwin. You need Sprinkle to just be adequate. If you're adequate, your offense is firing on all cylinders. And, of course, the offensive line needs to be good. But
you're asking those guys to be excellent at exactly why did you pay Jarwin?
Because you take the top off.
Because that's it. You're not because he's the most shifty tight end in the world.
He can
not
attack
because he's
the middle
best.
of the field. He's got good hands.
Because in your system, he's that valuable to you. In your system, what you're asking him to do, he's that valuable to you. And it goes back to our conversation last week when we started talking about the linebacker pick in the first round. He's that valuable to us because of what he's going to do in accordance with the other guys that he's going to be playing next to. And that's what people don't understand when they start looking at personnel. People start losing their mind. Oh, he can't do this, and this. Yeah, but guess what? What he can do very well is exactly what this offense needs.
But also a better blocker. And so, I mean, even when you talk about Sprinkle and look, man, these defensive coordinators in the league, if they see any weaknesses and they study you and you bring Sprinkle in, hey, you about to hand it to Zeke, we coming at you, right away. And so you can't divulge what you're going to do.
Yeah, you can't telegraph
So, and so that's why that was the problem that I had with Bell, because that he wasn't doing a lot, even in Kansas City's offense as a receiving tight end. He was more of a blocker. So the way that this offense, the way that it looks on paper, it looks explosive. It looks like we're going to be able to stretch the field. Really looks like there isn't going to be anything that we can't do. But right now at the tight end position, there has to be another question there. Which guy is going to start this season?
Jarwin.
Yeah,
if he's healthy. Probably. I'm saying if he's healthy, he's coming back from ACL, so you don't know.
I think he'll be fine.
ACLs are like sprained ankles now.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was so early into last year. I think his rehab's going to be just fine by now. By then, he'll be there.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see him at OTAs and minicamp just because that's not how they do
why
things.
Do it?
Yeah, just get him ready for
Shoot me down now. We'll be talking about it this summer.
Heckman's got an inside track that we don't know about.
63 catches from Schultz last year. Yeah, if your line is healthier, he's probably not getting those opportunities as much
probably 40.
underneath. But that's okay. Just be efficient.
I would take what they give you.
Yeah,
I would rather have Dalton and Schultz with 40 catches, but have our offense firing on all cylinders.
Who do you think Dak is going to rely on? I mean, he's coming back from an injury. That first read, getting the ball out of his hand, not taking any punishment? Tight end, right? So it's important.
Ooh, that brings up an interesting point. Now, you mentioned this a minute ago, but flexibility is something that I think this tight end position has. Is there a chance we add some more? I got to ask this question on Twitter. Simi Fehoko, the wide receiver that was drafted by the Cowboys out of Stanford. 6'4", 225 pounds, big long arms, a 4.43 40. Is there a chance that he could maybe be thrown as maybe like an inline tight end at some point? He's a good blocker. If you watch him on film, he's decent. Now, he's extremely undersized for the tight end position, but I don't think that's necessarily out of the question if you wanted to throw some flexibility and modern looks into this offense.
You played the Y. You know that.
When I was at the end of my career playing with Mercedes Lewis, Mercedes was kind of the hand in the ground type guy, and I was kind of the wing back, right? That's when the Aaron Hernandez era was kind of coming to a head. I could see him playing a role in that, but even then, I was still treated as a receiver. And I was 245 pounds at that time, right? So no matter what, if you're looked at as a receiver, they're putting a dog on. They're putting a nickel in there.
So you're basically off the line of scrimmage, going in motion.
Yeah, cut blocking on the backside. You know what I'm saying, running flat routes.
Yeah, he can feel that need.
Yeah, he can feel that need. But they'll probably do it from a 4 wide set. Utilizing him in a 4 wide set and use him in short motion. That's most likely what they'll end up doing. So, for instance, when I was playing in New England, I was a bigger receiver, right? So I'll be out there with Moss. I would motion down, and then I would chip on Mathis. Or you know what I'm saying, or guys like that, guys, great edge rushers, and just hit that and then get into a flat route. So because he's big, physical, physically imposing, they'll utilize him tight end-ish, but he won't have his hand in the ground.
He's not Belldozer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it can't go back and forth.
Those guys, to your point, right? You said 245 pounds. That's what I was. I was getting thrown out the club, and I was considered one of the strongest, strong dude. I was getting thrown out the club by defensive linemen. You just don't go in their clubhouse. That's what they do. You come in here, no white tees in the club. I'm throwing you out, right? So that lets you know these are grown men, right? And these dudes are getting more and more explosive, more powerful. Just in general. We talk about DK, 235 pounds running a 10.3. That is insane.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Right? It's no different than when you try to go out there and try to put your hand in the ground of 245 pound tight end, try to go in there and cut block on a nose tackle. Good luck.
What is Noah Brown weigh? I'm going back to the Noah Brown.
Come on, what is this? What's up with you today, Pete?
117 pounds soaking wet?
No, he's bigger than that.
No, it's probably 220, 225.
225.
225?
6'2", 225.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was solid.
Yeah. So he's 2 inches shorter than Fehoko.
But we've tried that already.
Same weight.
He's thicker.
In the Seattle playoff game, I believe he played a little bit of tight end. I mean, he was serviceable, but like Isaiah said, he's not going down in that funk area. He'll stay out of there. You want to keep him.
I remember getting a chip shot on Dwight Freeney. And
how'd that go?
It went well. My job, my task was to was to chip Freeney onto our left tackle. Was it Big Vol from New England? I can't remember. Anyways, chip him and just boom, bump him enough just to give him an edge so he can get his hands on him. Because otherwise you can't get your hands on Freeney. He's gonna go Tasmanian Devil on you, right? So I could give a little chip on him, boom, and I ran a little flat route, and that's my job, just to give a little right. Yeah. 235 pounds receiver. Oh, got some love,
and that'll be his role.
That's his role.
Yeah,
but then when those guys come looking for you, you just get cataracts.
Yeah, I was about to say. Did you see? Did you hear the shakiness in his voice when you said how did that go? He goes,
it was good. You do what did Jamie Foxx say? And he hit him down, and you get him out of the club. Get him out of there.
Getting out of there. Kind of sticking with Simi Fehoko just real quickly before we take our second break. I don't think this is going to be. I don't think it's out of the question. He's your fourth wide receiver. Just kind of looking at him and looking at what he could bring and where he could be and what he could do outside of maybe Noah Brown, I think he might be better than Noah Brown, right now. And there's a good chance that you're going to see a lot of that competition coming up in training camp. That's going to be fun. I'm excited about that.
And you disrespected some guys, man. You got Wilson. The guys has been putting in work for a while.
Cedric Wilson, I would probably put above Fehoko. But I'm talking about for that big receiver, that Y role that you're going to see Fehoko and Brown kind of fight over.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely fighting for the same spot.
No doubt.
No doubt about it. I mean, when Noah Brown saw that draft pick come across, he should have known this is a showdown.
It's on.
I got to show my butt. Not only do I have to compete at the same level as him, I have to compete at a higher level because now they have money invested.
Yeah, and both guys on one-year deals.
Yep.
Brown and said but the one thing I would say is you're right. I mean, on tape, he looks like better than a fifth-round pick to me.
He does.
Just based on his production in college. But wide receiver seems to be a position that's hard to adjust to in the NFL. And I know you try to do it from the quarterback position, but even guys that play it throughout college, why is that, you think?
It's all about systems.
Yeah,
it's all about systems. I don't think it's just a position in general. I think it's about how the coaches determine how they want to utilize you, and that's if you get in the right system, you'll be a beast. You'll be an absolute dog in this league if you have a coach who knows how to utilize your skill sets. But if you're a skilled, talented guy and you kind of get wasted because of how they utilize you, you'll get buried. And you'll never have the career that you want.
And that's why I think Brown has a leg up because he knows the system, and he's been a pet cat of this organization for a while. And so it's been a reason why they've let him stay around. But you're right. I mean, it's going to be competition, but that's what we want.
Absolutely.
That's what we want. So.
Couple more competition spots that we'll talk about coming up in this third segment. That's a great point, though, about Noah Brown because we talked about it defensively. There's no allegiance to a lot of these guys. Tristan Hill. There's no allegiance to a lot of the players on this defensive side, LVE, Jalen Smith, because it's a new coaching staff. The coaching staff on the offensive side is relatively the same.
Yes.
And so Noah Brown does have some guys in his corner in terms of the coaching staff. It'll be tough for Fehoko to come in and play. And Dak, yeah.
And Dak
likes Noah.
He's a guy near the bottom of your roster that just is always a valuable guy to have. He plays special teams. He can block at that position.
When you get drafted in the fifth round, what can you do on special teams? How valuable
we asked Fehoko about that, and he was all for it.
Oh, I mean, he has to be. He got no choice. Yeah. But do you expect him to run down on kickoff and hit somebody? Do you expect him to turn his back on kickoff return, run 35 yards, turn around, and get a block on somebody? Mm-hmm. Is he going to really put his head these are real questions, right? These are kind of
make the roster questions.
Grab
rubber meets road.
Yeah, because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I'm willing to do it, and no disrespect, I don't know the man, but when you get out there, special teams, there's guys that you're facing, that's how they make their money.
That's how they eat.
So if you don't show up ready to play on special teams, you will get drugged. And every single special teams coach in the league will see it, and you will never get a spot again.
What is the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason? We're going to hit that question. Number one, no top 5, no top 3. Number one need for each of our 4 hosts here inside the Star of the Dallas Cowboys offseason. When we return on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Geico.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. When there's work to be done, a real workhorse can make all the difference. Like the Range Boss package. Our 5075E John Deere 75 horsepower tractor features a bell spear and loader and starts at $369 per month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay. No surprises. It works like a horse, so you don't have to.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now, let's get to work.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Geico. Final segment here on this Monday edition. Glad you're all with us on DallasCowboys.com and the various streaming platforms. That's Heckman Harrison. That's Isaiah Stanback. There's Rob Phillips. I'm Kyle Youms. We've got Scott Purcell guest punching in the back.
Scott on the board?
Scott's on the board.
What?
How about that?
Indie face.
That is a
doing the dirty work.
Man
Doing
of
the
many
dirty
talents.
work.
Indie face.
It's Scott and Chris back there. Chris is giving lessons. So I mentioned this going into the break. Number one need for the Cowboys this offseason, and this doesn't have to be a position. It doesn't have to be a Chris just called me out. I've got to get a read. Whether you're listening to music or you're listening to us on Talkin Cowboys, with Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, you can experience audio at a whole new level. With Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, you can experience that audio. The official earbuds of the NFL and of the Dallas Cowboys. So now that I've said that, we've got to keep going.
Well,
I can do reads at the end of the show.
Wow. You see that?
Hang on.
You just,
oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
That's what friends are for.
I'm all thrown off. Heckman, what do they sound like?
Rookie minicamp starts on Friday, and it starts like a symphony in my head.
Indie face.
He's gonna drive right by his voice. You know what I mean?
What did I give?
That's crazy.
I gave at least
That's crazy. You tried to help him.
I tried.
Kyle, you know how much I look forward to that.
There was the exit.
Week.
There was Kyle.
That was like
exit Kyle.
Yeah,
Steve Nash alley-oop
driving along. I had Waze on and everything, and I just didn't even look at it.
Wow.
Well, okay. So now that I've got to just kind of backtrack quite a bit.
Come on, you're a professional. You can do it.
I am. So biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason.
Kyle Snickers.
Yeah, you want to give it over here. I'm not myself whenever I'm hungry. Doesn't have to be a need in terms of a position. It could be any kind of aspect of this franchise going into rookie minicamp, going into training camp, and the future of this 2021 campaign. What would be your number one wish list? What would be number one on that list? Isaiah, we'll go ahead and start with you on this one. If you're wishing for something for this Cowboys team to find this offseason, what would it be?
Continuity. Continuity. I think these guys need to get on the same page. Last year was everything but that. And obviously because of so many reasons, right? Because of coaching staff, because of, personalities on the team, because of lackluster effort, because of health. But I think that, take all those things all encompassing, I think that we need some continuity going into this season. And I think if we can figure that out in all aspects, right, from the coaching staff, from the the decision makers, the coaching staff to the three phases of the game, I think we'll be all right.
Rob?
From a roster standpoint, we talked about backup quarterback. I would say if they find another veteran that they can compete and they feel good about, a little bit of depth there, that's where I would go. Isaiah's continuity, I'm going to build off of that and just say on the defensive side of the ball, just a better comfort level with the scheme.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have OTAs, as far as we know, minicamp. I think that will help. There'll be some virtual components of it, I'm sure. There are right now. That's got to be more concise and efficient, and the communication's got to be better from the coaching staff to the players. If they get that, then you get into training camp, and I think you feel better about it. Last year, McCarthy said the virtual component of it was not good enough. They had 3 weeks of training camp, no games, and it showed on the field.
Yeah.
And before we get to Heckman's, I do kind of want to add on that is because there's probably going to be a virtual component to this offseason if there hasn't been already.
There's been questions about what teams are going to do. I mean,
lots of questions.
But the Jets had their rookie mini camp, and OTAs and mini camp are scheduled, and I think that will certainly help.
But even then, I mean, for some of these rookies, is everyone going to be in here? Is everybody going to be working out?
Yeah,
that's what the plan is.
Yeah, I think so.
That makes me feel a lot better about that continuity.
Yeah,
it makes me feel better because if there was a virtual aspect, and there might be down the road, who knows? Things change on a daily basis in the NFL, but if there is a virtual aspect, I don't feel as good about it because I want that continuity. And Mike McCarthy even talked about it in his offseason press conference well before the draft. He said, usually we would go out to dinner. We'd go do this. We'd go do that. We'd have all of these team-building activities. And whenever you don't have those, you don't realize how much you miss them whenever you can.
Oh, man.
I mean, because whenever you're doing it, you feel like it might be an obligation or it's just like a minor thing. No, that's a big thing, especially with a new coaching staff.
Yeah, there's no replacement of time spent together. There's just not.
And we had none of that last year.
Zero.
And for a first-year coach, it was literally impossible for him to build that. So,
when you're together, you're all wearing masks. I mean, it's just not normal, and nothing about it's normal.
But just, I mean, if you've ever been in the locker room, ever been a part of a football team, you just know that. I mean, guys know each other in and out, and it's that time that you spend with one another. It's the trust that you have. It's the things that you have on the football field in game that comes from those moments, and we had none of that, and it reflected. I mean, you saw it. Guys were just playing for themselves and not one another.
Yeah. Well, and going back to the Jason Garrett era, I mean, Jason didn't do everything right as a Dallas Cowboys head coach, but one of the things I think he did well was kind of establish that continuity. You remember the All or Nothing TV show that the Cowboys had, that documentary on Amazon or whatever? So after every meeting, what did they do? They started like hugging each other and kind of like dapping each other up and just having that like camaraderie and that brotherhood and that kind of feel. You don't have any of that.
They played Duck,
You don't
Duck,
have
Goose.
any of that. You don't have that though at this point. And I'm not saying that's going to be like, oh, we're going to go from 6 wins to a Super Bowl because we high five each other after.
Claim it, say it.
No,
6 wins to a Super Bowl.
Not what I'm saying, but I'm saying like something like that would help with continuity. And like that quality time together is something that the Cowboys have never had.
I mean, no different than us being here in the studio together.
Yeah.
Right? There's things that we'll continue to get better at, right? Understanding nonverbal cues. Right, understanding, how we transition into certain topics, right? All those type of things, right? You can only get that when you're around each other, when you're in person. So just like that, it's even more so when it comes to the locker room.
All right, Heckman, what's your number one need?
Man, you look at the roster even right now. It's one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. We got all the players, even the draft. We look at what we brought in with Parsons, Joseph, and you see the talent there, but my thing is attitude. I want to see this team
gritty
with an attitude, gritty. And if you just look at around the league at teams like Baltimore and just their culture and what they are about. We talked about Seattle, what they are about, who they are, gritty, and attitude. Last year, we didn't have that. And I can just go back to the Washington football we talked about when Andy Dalton went down. No one ran to Andy Dalton. No one, tipped over a Gatorade bucket. No one got ejected from the game. something. I mean, your quarterback just got destroyed. Yeah. But those are just little things that I think that this squad is missing. And I know that the football purists will say, oh, well, that don't count for nothing. Well, if you get out there and you're getting drugged by 30 and you don't have one guy to stand up and say, get up, get the attitude, bring it back. Yeah. You just pan to that Baltimore game when we were getting the doors blown off, and they panned to the sideline, and it was the most disgusting scene, seeing our guys sit there on the bench just deflated. They had nothing. So we got to bring that back.
I wonder how much Parsons can add to that, even as a rookie, because he's got that edge to him, and that's why, we've debated that position. But if he can,
we got that corner too,
huh?
Kelvin
Joseph too. Yeah. But if both of them, but Parsons in particular has brought that edge when he's been at Penn State, and so even as a rookie, if he can bring some of that, it's kind of like when in 2016 Zeke brought like a physicality and an edge to the offense that really rubbed off on everybody. It was like, man, this guy is
and I think the example
Dak too. That maybe this rookie class can add some of that.
No, and I'm going back and digging in the crates on this, but you think about when Michael Irvin was drafted in '88. Where the Cowboys were from 87 to 88. He brought that attitude too. I mean, although it was a 1-15 season, but still you knew with Michael Irvin and his attitude and what his work ethic that he was going to bring every day, guys had to match that. Yep. And that was the championship quality just laid. That was the brickwork, right? To lay that foundation to build a championship team. And if Michael Parsons, like you said, he's going to come in with that bullseye on his back anyway. But if he can come in with that work ethic and attitude and say, look, the buck stops now. This is where we're going to get it.
How many players can you guys name last year that played with an edge? How many? How many guys? I mean, offensively, you could do some. I mean, Zeke and Dak, I would say, play with an edge. Zach Martin, that's fine. But on the defensive side, Tank? Maybe? Some games,
and I think Tank was a little lost in the weeds. I mean, it wasn't good either way for any of them. But I don't think I can honestly say that this one guy brought that.
Would you say maybe Randy Gregory? Does he quote unquote play with an edge?
I don't feel like we had that. When I think about edge, I think about rosters that you're almost on the edge of your seat. Like, please don't get a personal foul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you want that feeling a little bit. You want that.
Like, okay, go like, I want you to go up to the line. I want you to cross it.
I want you to go to the end of the whistle, not to the whistle. I need you going to the end of the whistle. I need my offensive lineman dragging dudes through the ground. When I think about offensive lineman, I think about the center from Tampa Bay. I'm sorry I don't know his name. But he's
nasty.
He's gonna drag you. Yeah. He's gonna drag. I mean, he's gonna try to embarrass you. And if you show frustration, he's gonna hype him up. Right? He wants to embarrass the crap out of you. You think about defensive linemen, who's just nasty
the Seattle defenses under Quinn were like that. And there's Hall of Fame talent there, but man, there was a swag and an attitude and an edge, and I mean,
Aaron Donald.
That's what you're looking for. Aaron Donald for sure.
Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald's going to play hard. He's going to play hard. You know you're going to get that. But I'm talking about like that. Like somebody might he might punch you.
Yeah,
like,
I'm talking about a little bit of a screw loose.
I want a little bit of a screw loose, like somebody like Sue. Like Sue. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. You're like old Sue, not new Sue, like the old Sue. Like you just never know, right? He gonna hit you, and then like, ooh, what's he gonna do after the play?
Yeah.
You know, like I want that, but I want that to go through the whole defense. You think about cornerbacks like Talib, right? Like obviously he's out the league now, but like
that's what he played with.
He played with that. Like he was gonna put his hands on you, and you had to deal with him the entire game. And when you showed up to the stadium, you're like, crap, man. I'm gonna have to fight this dude.
Don't wear your chain.
Yeah, don't wear your chain. Like, I'm gonna have to fight this dude. But like, you want that at every level of your defense.
Ramsey, Marcus Peters, guys like
just
that.
a little bit of swagger. Yeah. I think Chris put this in my ear, but Donovan Wilson. I mean, he was close.
Yes, he came.
That's
with
it.
That's
He came with
it.
Probably the one guy,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely, he came with it. Yeah.
That's because he was laying wood. I mean, he's knocking people out, but he also was missing big too. So there's a give and take. There's a give and take to that. You know,
there is.
And it's an often used word. You know, guys play with that dog, but you know, if you're gonna play with that dog, it's gonna have to be 100% all the time.
It up.
You can't. You know, we can't
pick and choose.
Start the film and go, wow.
One of my favorite clips of this past draft class, Seth Williams, the wide receiver from Auburn. I think Denver picked him up. I can't remember exactly where he went. but there was a clip of him against Mississippi State, and there's this Mississippi State corner up on him, and he's talking to him before the play and like just chatting, and Seth Williams doesn't even look at him, like not even looking at the guy. And then he like finally gets up to the line of scrimmage, and he just burns him on a fade route. No double move, no nothing, just straight fade route. Beat him, caught it, touchdown pass, and then he got right back up in his face and was just yelling at him again. That's one of my favorite clips, but it's a great representation of both sides of it. You can't just talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And there's a reason that's a cliche. There's a super big reason why that's a cliche, because this Cowboys team, even whenever they got to the point in the middle of the season against Philadelphia and they started winning a couple of games, you saw the energy, but then you played a game like Pittsburgh and maybe Baltimore where it's like, oh, where did that go? And you kind of you get back in your shell a little bit. You can't do that in 2021.
Yeah. Media pumps you up too when you're in Dallas too. If you have
That's
a little bit of success, you got to block that out too, in addition to the negativity.
Don't
because
read the scripts.
Yeah, because people want the Cowboys to be back, And so when you have a little success, maybe you drown that out.
You know how I imagine you when things are going well, Rob, and you're writing your articles, you're like,
I put my blinders on. I put on my varsity jacket. And I put my blinders
you
on.
see his high school jacket upstairs.
Yeah, it's upstairs. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for us here on Talking Cowboys. It's been another fun hour of Talking Cowboys, as always. Presented by Geico. Special thanks to Scott Purcell, Chris Beam in the back. For Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yomes. We'll see you next week, 11:30 Central Time, next Monday on Talking Cowboys.
Wow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!